first of 3 games against the National League Marlins. Top of the order, D. Gordon, Martin Prado, and then Giancarlo Stanton. Tonight he's the DH. It's only the 5th time in his career he's been the DH, but he's swinging a hot bat. Over his last 24 games, he's hit 11 home runs and driven in 18 in his OPS, over 900. Former Blue Jay, Danny Echeverria, he's got a 7-game hit streak. He is 9 for 25, and he's driven in 5 runs over those 7 games. He is batting 8th, right ahead of Ichiro Suzuki, who is in right field tonight to take on the Blue Jays, and Marco Estrada.
Marco Estrada making his 7th start for the Blue Jays tonight. He earned his first win as a starter, his 2nd victory of the season. Won that last time out that was on June 2nd at Washington when he allowed 2 earned runs over 6 innings. In fact, he has been strong for the Jays. He's pitched at least 6 innings in each of his last 3 starts. For his career versus Miami, he's pitched in 9 games, 4 starts against the Miami Marlins. He's given up 21 runs in 29 to 3rd inning pitch, including 8 home runs. There are some powerful hitters in this lineup for the Miami Marlins, so Marco's going to have to keep that ball down.
Top of the order, D. Gordon, a speedster and a terrific hitter. He leads the National League in batting. Estrada is set. Here's the first pitch of the ball game. It is in there for a strike, and we are underway. D. Gordon batting .372. That's the best in baseball. Prince Fielder leads the American League at .356.
He can slap the ball around, keep the ball in play. And with that speed, with 2 strikes, he just likes to shorten up that swing. You can see the whole infield is very shallow because of his speed.
0-2 pitch. Changeup on the ground, foul outside of first. D. Gordon has 87 hits in his first 54 games. That's 1.61 hits per game. That's the highest average of season in since 1940. It's the 2nd highest single season hits per game average, behind his teammate Ichiro Suzuki. There's a fly ball hit to center. Pilar was shallow. He gets back quickly and makes the catch. 1 down. Take a look at the Blue Jays defensively. As a team, they've committed 33 errors. That's middle of the pack in the American League. Ezequiel Carrera is in left field. Kevin Pilar, Jose Bautista round out the outfield defense. Danny Valencia makes his 4th start at 3rd base. Reyes and Kawasaki up the middle. Chris Colabella's at first, and Russell Martin behind the plate for Marco Estrada.
And a big hit in yesterday's ball game for Munenori Kawasaki. That earns him a start in tonight's ball game at 2nd base against the left-hander.
This is Martin Prado. Boy, he has been a good player for a long time. Prado initially signed as a free agent by the Atlanta Braves in 2001.
You know what?
That high fastball.
What else? He's a pro. The guys follow him. He's good in the clubhouse. He takes the young players under his wing and really teaches them how to play the game the right way. You got a lot of respect for him the way he plays this game.
Change up. He puts it into the seats and stays alive. He's only 31 years old. He spent 7 years with the Braves and hit .295 over 683 games in Atlanta. He's a .291 career hitter. And you're right, he is a pro.
Yep, he's a pro's pro. You put him out in the field, you don't have to worry about him.
He went to New York last year in a trade with the Arizona Diamondbacks and played 31 games for the Yankees at 2nd base. He had .316 with 7 homers and 16 RBIs, and I was surprised the Yankees didn't bring him back.
Yeah. Because he can play all over. He can play the outfield if you want him to. But again, you just put him in the lineup and you can forget about him. He's going to give you great at-bats. He's going to do all the little things that you need to help you win ball games.
1-2. Cut on and missed. First strikeout of the night. Giancarlo Stanton will bat with 2 outs and nobody on, and he is a powerful hitter. Stanton's longest home runs this season, and they are some monsters. May 15th in Miami, 474 feet. One better against Atlanta on May 16th. And how about this one over the weekend in Colorado, 484. And Stanton is a terrific power hitter. You see he wears that mask on his helmet. That's to protect that area where he was struck by a pitch last September 11th.
He'll wear the mask versus a right-handed pitcher, but left-handed pitching, he doesn't wear it.
You notice that mask is formed into a G. Giancarlo. There's a high pop. That's going to be foul.
I'll tell you, I saw the home run he hit in Dodger Stadium that left the ballpark and was amazed.
Yeah, not many hitters have ever hit balls out of Dodger Stadium, but Giancarlo Stanton hit one on the pavilion and bounced into the parking lot. 2-1, 2 outs. Now it's 2-2. Stanton grew up in California, so he had a lot of family and friends there at Dodger Stadium. One of the premier players in all of baseball. Goes after that breaking ball and strikes out. Martin will throw to first to complete the strikeout. Good start for Estrada. 3 up, 3 down with a pair of strikeouts. Lately, Donaldson is the DH tonight, and Jose Bautista's having a good homestand. He's 5 for 10 during the homestand with 3 homers and 4 RBIs. Bautista's starting to heat up. Russell Martin spent some time in the National League with the Dodgers and the Pirates. He's got a .311 lifetime average with 11 extra base hits and 21 driven in. They'll face a left-hander they've not seen before as a team. Brad Hand.
Just 25 years old. He was a second-round draft pick by the Marlins in the 2008 draft. He opened the season in the bullpen. So he is making his 3rd consecutive start in the rotation. First time that he has faced the Jays. He's been okay. 2 solid starts this season, giving up 2 runs in 11 innings this year so far for Brad Hannon. You can see out of the stretch. He'll do that because that's where he was in the bullpen earlier this year.
Throw the first pitch strike to Jose Reyes. Hand is filling in. They have 3 injured starters on the disabled list. There's a base hit for Reyes. Leadoff single for the Blue Jays at shortstop. Let's take a look at the defense for the Marlins behind Hand in the outfield. Christian Yelich, a terrific young player in left field. Marcell Ozuna is in center, and Ichiro Suzuki in right. Prado, Echeverria, Gordon, and Gore around the infield. And JT Realmuto, you're going to like him behind the plate.
And you're going to like these two right here. Echeverria and Gordon own a .991 combined fielding percentage, which would be the highest by a Marlins shortstop and second baseman in their history.
Donaldson goes after the first pitch. It's a fly ball into center. Ozuna has it, and Donaldson's retired on 1 pitch.
You know, this is a team, a fielding team that's #1 in the National League. They've only committed 22 errors this season. And the guys up the middle, that's where you want to build your team defensively. Adeiny Echeverria is really good at shortstop.
They had a terrific double play combination in Alex Gonzalez and Luis Castillo. So to say that these guys are playing better than that double play combination is really saying a lot.
It's saying something. D. Gordon, he's been outstanding both with the bat and the glove this year.
This is the red hot Jose Bautista. Reyes has been running. That's why the Marlins are keeping an eye on him. Reyes had 2 more steals in yesterday's game. He had a 3 stolen base game on Saturday. He is 9 for 9. The catcher, JT Realmuto, has caught just 4 of 17 base steals.
That's 23% right now. But Reyes is trying to get a feel for what Brad Hand has. Again, it's the first time that the Blue Jays have seen him, but you know they've been studying the film work. What type of move he has over there. It's very basic for a left-hander, his move over to first base.
Reyes was going back to first on that delivery to Bautista. He's not got a good feel for him just yet.
He has or had a one-way lead where you get out there as far as you can and you're just trying to bait that pitcher to come over there with your best move. I want to take a look at this move over to first base.
Well, this is a problem we have seen once Reyes gets on base. He is such a distraction at first that pitchers have a tendency to split their attention between first base and home, and that's a dangerous proposition.
With the guy at the plate, I'll tell you, you are really asking for trouble if you're forgetting about the guy hitting.
There's a line drive base hit into left. Yelich plays it on a hop. Reyes stops at second. Bautista's 6th hit of the homestand.
But 2-0 count, and if you're Jose Bautista, you're going to try and square one up. That is a fastball. He tries to turn it over. He can sink the ball. But that time it doesn't sink. Jose goes out and gets it and rips it to left field for a base hit.
The Blue Jays came into this game with the best batting average against left-handed pitching in all of baseball. As a team, they hit .306 at the start of this game. Kansas City Royals are second at .283. Chris Colabello, the hero of yesterday's game, with that 2-run single in the bottom of the ninth. Maybe the most pivotal play of that inning was the double steal pulled off by Reyes and Bautista.
Brilliant. I thought Reyes has the green light where he can go anytime, and a very heads-up steal by Reyes at second base, recognizing that the hitter was going to get a breaking ball, and he and then Jose stole it easily.
Colabello singles to left field. Reyes is going to score. Bautista turns and heads for third, and Colabello, in his first at-bat, has extended his hit streak to 18 straight. That's the longest hit streak in the majors this season, and the Blue Jays have an early lead.
Yeah, he's such a smart hitter. When you talk to him, he's prepared. He goes up there with a plan. When he's at the plate, he does his homework against the pitchers. He obviously knows a little something about Brad Hand. This ball right over the middle. They wanted it a little bit further. Colabello thinking about hitting the ball back through the middle. He has become a very reliable RBI man, hitting behind Bautista the last couple of days.
RBI number 20 for Colabello. Russell Martin steps in. Runners at the corners, 1 out. The Blue Jays, they ambush a lot of starters in the first inning. Top of the order, especially now with Reyes back leading off. Russell Martin batting .267. We mentioned his career average against the Marlins, .311. Reyes has already scored tonight. Changeup. 1-1 to Martin.
Very patient hitter at the plate, Russell Martin. He'll see his share of pitches and really try and work over that pitcher. You got an RBI situation right here. Have a plan. And his plan is to hit that ball back through the middle.
Boy, he zeroed in early on Brad Hand. He's having a good look at the lefty. Boy, the Blue Jays got some momentum. Starting to feel it. You can see the way the team is taking batting practice and the way they're preparing, and then you see them take the field to start the game. There's a lot of energy right now.
A lot of energy, a lot of confidence when they step out on that field. Everybody pulling the same way.
Martin cuts right through that breaking ball. Russell hitting .364 against lefty pitching. Russell and his teammate Josh Donaldson in the top 5 against left-handed pitchers in the American League. Off the plate.
Good take right there. That little cutter on the inside part of the plate runs that count to 3-2. They've got a lot of good guys who hit lefties. Here's another one right here on deck. Danny Valencia is another one who can really handle that left-handed pitching. Not just this year, but his whole career.
Valencia batting .410 against lefties. Popped over the Marlins dugout. Out of play. Colabella wasn't running on that pitch. He is anchored there at first, now getting a visit from Tim Leeper, first base coach. Bautista singled to the left, went to third base, first to third on the RBI single by Colabella. 3-2 to Russell Martin. There goes Colabella. Ball is driven deep to right. Ichiro over near the seats, makes the catch, falls into the seats. Bautista tags and comes across, and the ball came out of his glove. He had it for a while in his glove, but it popped loose down there into the seats once he fell over the wall into the seats.
Yeah, it would have been a run for the Blue Jays if he could have held on to that ball. He's got to make a decision. Do I try and make this catch? Because I know if I do, I'm going to give up a run. And Ichiro gets right to the stands, right off of his glove. Fans break his fall. He's a Gold Glover. He has been a great outfielder for a long time. But that time it just bounces off of his glove, and will do it all over again.
Suzuki playing in his 76th game here at Rogers Center. He's very familiar with that right field corner. Another 3-2 pitch. There goes Colabello, and Martin stays alive, fouls it off.
D. Gordon, excuse me, Buck, the second baseman, is covering as the Blue Jays elect to start that runner over there at first base, opening up a huge hole on the right side. The whole right side is wide open. If Russell Martin gets a pitch that he can handle, he can shoot it over there.
Yeah, that's a good pickup, Pat, and it's just playing percentages with Hand, the left-hander, on the mound. You expect the right-handed hitting Martin to pull it, but he's been going the other way throughout this entire at-bat. Up and away, ball 4. That'll load the bases. Blue Jays trying to put up a crooked number here in the first. They've already scored 1. Well, it is imperative to the Blue Jays, and Brooke Jacoby has talked about this all the way back into spring training. When you're playing game 1 of a series, make that starter work and get into that bullpen early, and you might really create problems for them for the entire series.
That's a great point. And make him work early in the game. First inning here, he's already thrown 17 pitches, and he's only recorded 1 out. And if you're Danny Valencia, right after that walk, you are Sewer again on strike 1.
And he gets it and drives it deep to center. This ball is off the wall. Bautista's in to score. Colabello's right behind him. They're going to stop Russell Martin at third. And Danny Valencia with a 2-run double off the wall in center.
I was watching him take batting practice today, and he was really getting into a lot of pitches, getting his whole body in there, and there's some strength behind there. Told you that he just wears out left-handers. And if you're a hitter, you've got guys on base, he just walks the hitter right in front of you. You're looking for the first pitch to right down the middle, strike 1. Danny gets it, and there's that power. Look at all that movement and then the power behind the swing as he gets all of that and smokes it off the wall in center field. That ball is drilled. No chance for Ozuna to catch that one. It almost leaves the ballpark. But it's a 2-run double, and the Jays are in business
Danny Valencia came within inches of hitting his third career grand slam, and he has plated 2. Now it's a 3-run first inning. Chuck Hernandez, the pitching coach for the Marlins, out to visit with Hand. And now Kevin Pillar with runners at second and third.
First inning, infield back. You're the hitter here. You're thinking middle of the field. It's an easy RBI right here. You're going to try and drive in both of them, but you don't want to hit the ball back to the pitcher, or you don't want to pull it to the third baseman on the ground.
Line drive left field. Martin's in to score. Valencia's being waved home, and the ball is cut off. Kevin Pillar has made it a 5-run first inning.
Told you this team can strike. Strike early and strike often. Another pitch that just didn't do a whole lot, stayed over the middle of the plate. Looked like a 4-seam fastball right there. Belt high, and Pillar smokes that ball in the left field. That's about the third one hit hard to left field by a right-hander. You can see where that ball is up. He doesn't have to reach for it. Just drop the barrel of the bat on that baseball. That's 2 more runs.
5-0. Still just 1 out. Ezequiel Carrera, the left fielder. Pillar drives in 2. He's got 26 ribbies now. You get a sense that the Blue Jay players gaining a lot of confidence with each win.
Yes. With each win, especially yesterday's win, that type of win can really carry a ball club, and just you can't wait to get to the ballpark the next day.
0-2, 1 out. He went around. Carrera called for his swing. That's strike 3. That's the second out of the inning. 2 down now. So Munenori Kawasaki, the number 9 hitter, the Blue Jays bat around in the first.
You know, I asked John Gibbons today, I said, Gibby, why Kawasaki in the 9th inning to start? He says, you know what? He gives you good at-bats. You're going to make that pitcher work. He's going to see a lot of pitches. He's going to grind out at-bats. He's going to give you a great effort, and it worked out for him. And you'll probably see it again here. That is pitch number 24 already here in the first inning. And Kawasaki, he's not going to go up there swinging. He's going to make this guy work and bring it in there.
There goes the runner. Pillar takes off for second, and he gets in there safely with a good slide. The 8th stolen base of the season for Kevin Pillar gets himself into scoring position.
He's only been thrown out 1 time. Early in the season, he was head first sliding, and he hurt his hand. He said, from now on, I'm going in old style, feet first, and I'm going to go straight to the bag. That is a classic pop-up slide right there. Into the bag, and then you stand up.
Now, Chew, when you let those middle infielders know you're sliding with your spikes first, they're going to be a little bit less aggressive putting that tag on you. 1-1 Kawasaki. That's outside. Munenori, of course, with that big pinch hit double to start the bottom of the 9th. Two balls in his strike. The Blue Jays have put up 5 in their half of the first. Three and 1. Well, the Blue Jays have scored 5 runs on 5 hits against the lefty Brad Hand, and this shows you that this is not a surprise. They have the best batting average against left-handed pitching in the majors.
You know, they can handle Valencia, Donaldson, Bautista, all those right-handers. I told you the Blue Jays are right-hand top-heavy for the most part, and making life miserable for the left-handed starters.
Kawasaki drives this one deep to left. Yelich is back, and it's beyond his reach. Bounces over the wall for a ground rule double. Kawasaki with an RBI double. 6-0.
And the stolen base for the Blue Jays works again. I mean, you can steal a base and it doesn't mean anything. That time he steals the base and he can score on this ground rule double. By Kawasaki, he doesn't steal it. He's at third base. Another pitch that's up. Look where that ball is. Right where Kawasaki can slash it to left field, out of the reach of Yelich and out of play for another run.
And that's going to be it for Dan Jennings, who named himself the manager on the 18th of May, took over for Mike Redmond, who was relieved of his duties, and Han can't get out of the first. The Blue Jays score 6 runs on 6 hits. Andre Rienzo, the Brazilian, will come on to face Reyes. Blue Jays for his career, and he got roughed up. Blue Jays ambushed him in the first. He is charged with 6 runs on 6 hits, and the runner at second, his responsibility. Andre Rienzo making his 3rd appearance.
Blue Jays have seen Rienzo. In fact, they saw him last year when he was a member of the Chicago White Sox here at Rogers Center. He pitched just an inning and 2/3 against the Blue Jays. They touched him up for 3 hits. Rienzo's got a lively fastball. He's got a swing and miss curveball. And he's stretched out, so he's not a 1-inning guy. He can give you multiple innings out of that bullpen tonight.
Jose Reyes singled to start the 6-run inning. He came around to score on the RBI single by Colabello. Blue Jays with 6 runs here in the first. The New York Yankees had a 6-run first inning this week. They lead the American League. They lead the majors with 57 first inning runs, and then the Blue Jays are right behind them. They have 42, tied with the Tigers. San Diego at 42. Texas has scored 40 first inning runs.
I'll tell you, if you face the Blue Jays and you are not on your game in the first inning, they're going to hurt you. And they're going to jump on you like they did tonight. 6 runs already.
Especially with Reyes back in the top of the order. He makes things happen. Pulls this ball on the ground. Will end the inning, but the Blue Jays send 10 men to the plate in the first inning. Kawasaki had an RBI double, big hit in the inning. Danny Valencia just missed a grand slam. He hit it off the top of the wall in deep right center to drive home 2. His 10th double of the season.
Baseball is changing for the better. Tonight's official scorer is Marie-Claude Pelland-Marcotte. She is the only current female scorer in Major League Baseball and just the second in Major League history. Now, she has done a lot of scoring for the Quebec Capitals of the Independent League, who happens to be the same league that Chris Colabello played in for so many years. She also did both Blue Jay games last year in Montreal in the preseason. I've been told she will be joining the crew on a regular basis. The only other female to do official scoring was years ago in Oakland. So right now, she is the only one in Major League Baseball. Buck?
Well, that's a great story, and welcome, Marie-Claude. We're glad to have you here, and it's a step in the right direction, that's for sure. Ground ball. Colabello smothers it off the bat of Justin Brewer, and that's the first out of the top of the sixth. Colabello is making just his third start at first base, and I would suggest that he's probably a little more comfortable, although he's played more games in the major leagues in the outfield than he has at first.
That's right. More games with Minnesota, more games with the Blue Jays, and with Edwin still down. He will get the start tonight. To talk around the batting cage today that there's a chance that Edwin will be back in the lineup tomorrow.
This is the center fielder, Marcell Ozuna. 285, 3-21 for the season for Ozuna. He's just 24 years old. He's from the Dominican Republic. He was signed as a free agent. Had a good season a year ago. He had 23 home runs and drove in 85.
They are flush with athletes in their outfield. The Marlins.
Changeup to Hopper de Valencia. Takes his time and throws wide of the mark. Ozuna is safe. Valencia just making his fourth start at third base, had that ball tail on him a bit and went up the line, and Ozuna is safe.
He handled the tricky hop. It was a tricky last hop to a watch. He backs up, gives ground, catches it. He has time, sets his feet, and the ball just takes off on him. And Ozuna runs too well down that line for the Blue Jays to finish off the play over at first base. So the official scorer has her first official score.
And she gave Ozuna a hit. Colabello will step on the bag. He dropped it when he swiped at it. He had thoughts of going to second, and that was the play. But all they can get is the one out at first. Christian Yelich out on the ground ball to first.
Be ready. Jumps off that bag, and he's thinking about making that throw. But as a first baseman, you catch it, find the throw, make the throw, then find the bag. Whether he gets the out at first.
So there are two down now for the catcher, JT Realmuto. Playing in his 41st game behind the plate. He's done a nice job. Of course, the Marlins were picked by many people to be a contending ball club in the National League East, and they may still be. They're 24-33, 6.5 off the pace of the New York Mets, who have a half-game lead over the Nationals.
They were picked because they were anticipating the Marlins getting a little bit better starting pitching, but they've had too many injuries. Way too many injuries to deal with it.
They have 3 starters on a DL, and that's not even counting Jose Fernandez.
Yeah.
Who's coming back from Tommy John surgery.
One of the best in all of baseball. They might get him after the All-Star break.
Yeah, I spoke to Dan Jennings about the situation with the starters. Matt Latos is making a rehab start tonight, so they expect him back very soon. The next pitcher that they expect back would be Jared Cozart. And then Henderson Alvarez, he's still not throwing because he's got a sore shoulder. But Jose Fernandez will probably come back after the All-Star break. This is popped up over near the seats, and that's going to be off the dugout roof.
I think he made his first rehab start last night and gave up 5 runs?
Yeah, I think
Something
so.
Like it wasn't real good.
I talked to Chuck Hernandez about that. Hernandez is the pitching coach, and he said they're going to have 4 starts for Fernandez. Fernandez is one of the premier young pitchers in all of baseball, and they want to make sure that they give him ample time to recover after Tommy John surgery. 2-2, 2 outs. Osuna at second. Reyes plays the hop, uses that strong arm. Good stretch by Colabello. Boy, Reyes has got a lot of arm strength. He threw that ball flat-footed on the money to end the inning. The big hop took him back into the outfield, and then flat-footed. Gets a lot on the throw. Bang, bang at first to end the inning. Estrada gave up a hit, and I contend that's not a hit. And I know we have a young lady scoring tonight, but it was a routine ground ball to third. Valencia had plenty of time to make a good throw and didn't. So I imagine that is going to be addressed.
Well, it's also the first hit of the game.
Yeah.
Tough to. What if Marco goes around and throws another? Well, it doesn't give up a hit the rest of the game. Wide throw, and Danny will take that for a no-hitter, wouldn't
Yeah. I think he knows that he makes a good throw, and Osuna's out. So Josh Donaldson will start things off for the Blue Jays. Donaldson flying out to center his first time up. Andre Rienzo. You mentioned Rienzo. One of 2 Brazilian players to appear in the major leagues. The other, of course, is Yan Gomes, the catcher for the Indians. There's a deep drive to center. Osuna knows this one's gone. Way back and gone. Number 16 for Josh Donaldson.
RBI number 41 for Josh. I'll tell you, he loads up on that back leg and gets everything into that swing. Little line drive yesterday for that out in the 9th inning. Line drive to left field, so he's been stinging the ball, just hasn't had much to show for it. Man, he crushed that one.
Donaldson with 41 RBIs, as Pat mentioned, now 4 behind the league leader, Mark Teixeira.
Watch him load up and get everything into that swing. Dead center.
Breaking ball inside. Donaldson's 16th home run ties him with Mike Trout for 3rd in the American League. Cruz leads with 18. Teixeira has 17, and then you have Donaldson and Trout.
It was a 1-0 count. He was looking fastball. Josh got the fastball. You can see it. I think off the second deck. Facing of the second deck. Dead center field.
Another breaking ball. Bautista is called out. And now he's thrown him out of the game. Angel Hernandez has thrown Bautista out of the game, and I'm not even sure Bautista knows it.
I don't think he knows it right now. John Gibbons is going to go to his defense right away. Angel Hernandez with the quick hook. Gibby's going to find out what was that all about.
Bautista called for the swing. And now John Gibbons out to talk with the first base umpire. Angel Hernandez has thrown Bautista out of the game here in the second inning. Bautista obviously aware now. I'm sure his teammates have told him, but that's awfully quick ejection. It didn't seem as though Bautista did anything to warrant being thrown out of the game.
Yeah, he checked his swing and then got the call from the first base umpire. I don't know what Jose's reaction was to Angel Hernandez, but Hernandez didn't like it and got the quick hook. Let's look at it one more time. Curveball. Bautista thinks he holds up. Sees it.
Didn't say anything.
Wait a minute. What?
He didn't say anything.
What did he do to get thrown out?
There was absolutely no reaction at all. Watch Bautista and look. He's looking at him. And there's no reaction. He turns his back, and you can't justify that. And Hernandez throws him out.
Wow. He must be having a bad day to throw him out for that.
I don't know that Bautista knows he's been thrown out. Chris Colabello had an RBI single in the first inning. Now Bautista's still sitting on the bench. Well, maybe it was John Gibbons who got thrown out. Bautista didn't say anything, but that's what was so odd about it. So John Gibbons must have been thrown out for his actions in the dugout. We didn't see that. But
he was
Bautista's
looking right
still
in.
The game.
There goes Gibby. He's leaving the ballpark, and Bautista's still on there. He would look like he was looking right at Jose.
Yeah, he sure did, and that's what it looked like. That's why it was so odd to see Bautista. That's not a very good way to spend your birthday.
No. Well, go in the coach's office and watch the game.
Wow. So that really was baffling because we didn't see Gibbons. Obviously, we can't see Gibbons from our vantage point, and we were concentrating on the umpire. But Angel Hernandez saw something he didn't like and threw out John Gibbons because Bautista didn't do anything that warranted his ejection.
Not at all.
So DeMarlo Hale will be the man in charge. Colabello pulls the breaking ball. Echeverria makes the play. 2 down.
I wonder if Gibby's ever been thrown out on his birthday before. That might be a first.
I would venture to say it's probably the first time he's been thrown out on his birthday. That's unfortunate. But the one good thing about it is Blue Jays have a 7-0 lead. Russell Martin walked and scored in his first at bat. Two and 0 to Martin. There's a slider for a strike. Rienzo has to give the Marlins some length in this relief appearance. And of course, this is a game that features the DH, so there'll be no pinch hitting for the pitcher. There's another slider.
And he can do that. He was a starter down in AAA. He was just called up last month, right at the end of May on the 23rd. Recalled from AAA, made 7 starts for their AAA team, so he can give them length. And the Marlins are carrying 8 relievers. So if any team can handle it, they can with their 8 relievers.
Three and 2, 2 outs. Pulled to third. Nice play by Prado. Throws from his backside, and Martin's aboard. He made a turn towards second, so he has to get back to first. The ball got away from the first baseman, Justin Bour.
Looked like it was extra bases for Russ Martin, but Prado, an excellent infielder, dives and then realizes he doesn't have enough time to get to his feet to make that throw. Russell thinking about the base hit. Beats it out for the infield hit as Bour cannot come up with it.
Now that's scored an error, and that's not an error. They just changed it. Yeah, that's definitely a hit.
They changed the other one too. No?
No, they haven't changed the other one.
They haven't changed the other one?
So Russell has a hit and a walk. That is certainly an infield hit. There's no doubt about it.
That was going to be a double. That was a heck of a play by Prado at third base.
Danny Valencia facing the right-hander. Valencia had a big bases loaded double in the first. That drove home Chu. Valencia has RBIs number 12 and 13 already tonight. Danny batting .231 against right-handed pitcher. He's worked hard with the hitting coaches, Brooke Jacoby and Eric Owens, trying to improve those numbers.
He can hit the ball all over the place. And that double with the bases loaded was to right center field on a line. Got that backside through on that swing.
It's a high fly ball to left. Yelich calls for it. The inning is over. Blue Jays get a run on Chu hits. John Gibbons gets ejected. Josh Donaldson goes deep for the 16th time of the season. Straightaway center. His 11th here at Rogers Center. Well, if you look at this big trade between the Marlins and the Blue Jays, the Blue Jays get Mark Burley, Josh Johnson, Jose Reyes, and Emilio Bonifacio. To the Marlins, lots of young talent. Henderson Alvarez and Anthony DeSclafani, who's now in Cincinnati. Echeverria is the shortstop. Yunel Escobar, we saw him in Washington, and Jake Marisnick is with Houston. But Adeiny Echeverria has been a big part of what the Marlins have done in the last couple of years.
And it didn't stop right there. Jeff Mathis came from the Blue Jays, went to the Marlins. We got John Buck in that trade. Justin Nicolino, a young pitcher, is with the Marlins. And at the time of that trade, everybody, and I mean everybody, said the Blue Jays are going to the World Series. And just like any trade that's ever made, it takes 2, 3, 4 years for the whole thing to wash out, especially when you've got so many young players involved.
Echeverria is now 26 years old.
Both teams got exactly what they wanted in that trade. Blue Jays got a veteran shortstop and a couple of veteran starters. And the Marlins got to remake their team with a lot of young talent.
Echeverria came up to the Blue Jays in 2012 and played in 41 games. He had 8 doubles, 2 home runs, and batted .254 for the Jays. So he's got a lot of ties to this Blue Jays roster, especially Luis Rivera. He was his manager in Double-A and was actually the first base coach with the Blue Jays when Echeverria hit his first big league home run against Phil Hughes in New York.
And this afternoon, after the Marlins were finished with their extra hitting, Luis Rivera showed up on the field, and Echeverria was the first one to go over there to give him a big hug.
Yeah, and Luis certainly has a sense of pride for the development of Danny Echeverria, and he should. He's a terrific infield instructor as well as a fine minor league manager. Breaking ball in the dirt. Echeverria hit 2 home runs that season with the Blue Jays. The second home run was against John Lester right here at Rogers Center. Pulls this one to third. Valencia on the money. 1 down. So the number 9 hitter, Ichiro Suzuki, will bat the right fielder. Suzuki came to the major leagues in 2001 with the Seattle Mariners. He got his 2,878th hit on Wednesday against the Cubs. It's this first pitch to Munenori Kawasaki, his former teammate with the Mariners. Kawasaki throws out Ichiro.
Isn't that ironic? Hits it right to him, and he finishes off that play. It's good to see Ichiro still in the game with his familiar number 51 and visiting his old pal, Kawasaki.
Yeah, Munenori Kawasaki looked up to Ichiro when they both played in the Japanese Professional League. And Kawasaki played for Fukuoka, and Ichiro played for Tokyo. And no, Ichiro didn't play for Tokyo. He played for... I'm drawing a blank now. But they both played together in Seattle, and of course Kawasaki patterned a lot of his batting style after Suzuki.
And the way he ran the bases, and the way he got into the batter's box. He's a Hall of Famer for me. Had the great career in Japan. He's had a great career here.
This ball is flared into center field. Pilar will get there, and he makes the catch. Gordon's retired. 3 up, 3 down for Estrada here in the third. going through their first round of the draft, and we look back at some of the recent draft picks of the Blue Jays, and you know what? You never really know where your talent's going to come from. Drew Hutchison dropped to a 15th round pick in 2009. Sanchez was a first round pick in 2010. How about 32nd round from Pilar in 2011? Daniel Norris was a second round pick, and Marcus Stroman was first out of Duke University. So it's all up and down the board. You just don't know where your major league talent is going to start.
Not everybody in the major leagues are first or second round draft picks. I think makeup, the type of player that they draft, the type of player that they are, has a lot to do with it. You've seen, and I've seen guys get to the big leagues with less talent. They're just smarter, and they know how to play the game.
Better baseball instincts, and here's one of them right here. Kevin Pillar, he did not get drafted out of high school, went to a Division II school in California. And when the Blue Jays drafted him, it was the 32nd round. Kevin had a couple of RBIs in the first inning, a single to left field. He takes the leadoff walk here in the third. It's the second walk of the ball game for the Blue Jays. Brad Hand started this game. He recorded just 2 outs, and he was out of the ball game. Ezequiel Carrera was a strikeout victim his first time. I tried to check his swing and fouled it off.
2 pretty good outings in a row for Brad Hand. Not so much tonight. Gave up just 2 runs in those 2 starts, covering 11 innings. Tonight he just got 2/3 of an inning.
Cards were stacked against him with the Blue Jays and all their right-handed bats. Carrera swings at the outside pitch. It's 0-2. Miami 24-33. They find themselves 6.5 back in the National League East. There's still plenty of time to make up ground. I was talking with their manager, Dan Jennings, before the game, and we were talking about some of the teams we have seen recently. And he said, I haven't seen a lot of real dominant teams in baseball. Look at the Cardinals. They're probably the best example. We saw Houston, and they have the best record in the American League, but they've got issues. Dan Jennings, the manager, took over on the 18th of May. Going to get some of his pitching back. And that'll make a big difference in the National League East.
That'll help in the way they can catch the ball and the power that they have as that ball's ripped to left field. They play good defense, and they've got powerful batters in that lineup. You were talking about dominant teams. We haven't seen everybody. By no means, we haven't seen everybody. I think the Royals on paper look like they're the best team in the American League. They can pitch it, they can catch it, they've got enough power, they've got enough hitting, they've got a great deep bullpen. And the Cardinals, with their great record, they've got a great starting rotation. Everybody else, though, I think, is pretty even. Anybody can beat anybody on any given night.
When you look at the Cardinals in the National League, they lead the National League in pitching with a team ERA of 2.58. And then they're 4th in offense. So it's a good combination.
Yep. And they play good defense. And you can say the exact same thing against the Kansas City Royals.
Kansas City is 2nd in pitching with a 3.49 earned run average and 2nd in offense. And they have exceptional defense.
Exceptional. And a deep bullpen. So they got a little bit of everything. And they're not even leading their division, are they?
No. Kansas City is a game behind the Minnesota Twins. There goes Pilar, and Kawasaki slaps it to third. Martin Prado throws out Kawasaki. Pilar gets into scoring position. The Blue Jays have won 5 straight for the first time this season, and a little bit of everything working for the Blue Jays. They're pitching well. They're whipped just over 1. They're hitting almost 300 as a team. They're plus 22 in run differential. And man, have they come up with some big hits like Colabello's hit yesterday. to win the game. And then in the first inning, they had a big night with runners in scoring position. Tonight they are 4 for 5 with runners in scoring
That's
position.
what it's all about. You hear that all the time. Clutch hitting or timely hitting, whatever you want to call it, is a big thing in baseball. You have to have the type of players who are not going to get too excited in pressure situations, who love those types of situations. Players like Josh Donaldson, players like Jose Bautista. I think Bautista loves those types of situations where you have a chance to be the hero.
You know what the Blue Jays have that the Marlins don't have? They have multiple weapons in their lineup. I mean, honestly, if you shut down Giancarlo Stanton of the Marlins, you've pretty much got the Marlins beat.
They have so many young hitters that really haven't hit their stride offensively.
Reyes drives one deep down the right side, but this is going to hook into the seats.
They've got wonderful talent. D. Gordon and Adeiny Echeverria and Christian Yelich and Ozuna. I mean, young talent, good young players who just haven't hit their stride yet. Prado, the third baseman, he's a good baseball player.
But they don't have a lot of extra base power, and they don't have the ability to come back from 7-run deficits. So you got to make sure you don't walk them and challenge them to put the ball in play. Reyes chops this one toward the mound. Nice play by Rienzo. The inning is over. The Blue Jays leave a base runner. We're headed to the fourth. 7-0 Blue Jays. Estrada with a good start.
Acura RDX. Go beyond utility.
Crowd on hand as this ball club is starting to heat up a bit, and they have won 5 straight, trying to make it 6 in a row. They scored 6 runs in the first inning. They have scored 7 runs overall, and this is the first time Toronto has scored 6 or more runs in 6 straight games since May of 2000. Been a long time since they've been this hot. During that stretch in May of 2000, they scored 6 or more runs in 7 straight games. But this is the 6th straight game in which they've scored 6 or more runs.
Everybody is contributing for the Blue Jays. Up and down the lineup. Tell you what, it makes it a lot easier on that pitching staff.
Boy, doesn't it? Especially early runs. Got balance up and down the order. Everybody making contributions, and offensively, it's really been a team effort. And that's the aspect we mentioned. If you focus on Bautista, Encarnacion, and Donaldson, there are still plenty of weapons in the lineup that can score runs. Kevin Pillar had a disappointing May, but boy, he's picked things up early in June. Reyes is back doing his thing, top of the order, running the bases perfectly.
So the last time they did not score 6 runs was that game 1 of the doubleheader in against the Nationals.
Martin Prado. It's a single to center. Leadoff single here in the fourth. Well, when you score runs in bunches, you're going to have a very strong case for leading the league in run differential, and they're plus 52 ahead of the Royals, the Yankees, and there are 3 teams tied at plus 18. But the irony of that is the Blue Jays are still 2 games under 500. This is Giancarlo Stanton. Stanton's 6'6" and weighs 250. He played high school baseball in Sherman Oaks, California, and played football, and was actually recruited by Pete Carroll to go to USC.
Tight end?
Tight end defensive back. Yeah, he's quite an athlete, and I spoke to him earlier today, and he said, you know, I wanted to go play both at USC, but I think I made the right decision. I have to agree with him.
Yeah. His bank account alone made the right decision.
There's a deep drive to right, and this one's gone. Giancarlo Stanton, his 19th home run, a no-doubter, just like that, into the seats in deep right center.
He is always a threat. I think whenever he steps into that batter's box, he is always a threat to knock the ball out of the ballpark. So you want to face him with nobody on. Make those solo home runs instead of multiple run home runs. That ball was drilled. Fastball away. He wants to get him to reach for it. That doesn't matter. That guy can hit it out of any park in the league, any part of the park. That one to right center field, and on a laser two-run score.
That's his 3rd hit against Marco Estrada. He is now 3 for 10, and all 3 hits are home runs.
Man, what a force.
Stanton does it with very little flair. He plays the game, runs around the bases, doesn't get too emotional, up or down. And right now his team is trailing 7-2, so there's not much to celebrate. But when he signed that lucrative contract, 13-year contract for $300 million, he said, I'm not just taking the money, I want to win. You got to give me a promise that you're going to try to win here in Miami. As the first baseman Justin Bour strikes out.
Well, it's backloaded, isn't it? Where the Marlins can do some things financially to get good players here. There are the producers this season, RBIs this season. Stanton leading now with 49.
Yeah, he can opt out of the contract after 6 years, and the total commitment for the first 6 years of the contract is reasonable at $107 million. But the 7 years after that, he averages $31 million a year. But he said, you know, I want to be able to judge where we're headed as an organization. I just don't want to take the money. I want to win. A curveball to Ozuna. Major Hernandez says no swing. 7-2 Blue Jays. Popped out of play. Stanton is 19 home runs now, and Lenny Harris is the third base coach, and that's a little playbook from the football.
There it is.
Years of Stanton's. That's line to center. Pilar came in and is able to recover and take the line drive over his head. Ozuna is retired. 2 down.
I tell you, one of the toughest plays for an outfielder is that line drive right at you. You're just not sure if it's going to take off. Watch Pilar. Kevin comes in and then realizes that there's some backspin on that ball and it's going to carry a little bit further. So he changes directions and stays low, and he stayed on the side of that ball. He never squared it up with his shoulders. He stayed sideways, and that helped him to change directions like that and make the play. This
is Kristen Yelich. He's just 23 years old. He knows what draft day is all about. He was a #1 pick of the Marlins in 2010.
But talking about the draft, the Marlins just picked. You know who they picked? No, Josh Naylor from right here.
Oh, that's right. The Canadian Junior National team, Josh Naylor.
So congratulations, Josh. 12th overall in the draft.
That's pretty good. Big slugger, lots of power, young hitter.
St. Joan of Arc Catholic High School. Wow.
Dan Jennings used to be a scouting director. He was the general manager the last couple of years with the Marlins, and they decided to make a managerial change. Mike Redmond was let go, and Jennings went down and I got to put the uniform on. Yelich strikes out. After the home run, Marco Estrada retires 3 straight. Crowder with the leadoff single. Giancarlo Stanton to dead center, his 19th. But the Blue Jays have a 7-2 lead.
Presented by the We Style 2016 Acura RDX. Go beyond utility.
Welcome to indoor baseball here at Rogers Center as the Blue Jays try to extend their current win streak to 6 straight games. Miami Marlins are here at Rogers Center for the first time since 2009. There's another deep drive to the left. Yelich over in the corner. He's got a room, and Josh Donaldson just missed it. Got that breaking ball and got underneath it from Rienzo and flies out on the warning track.
Hit it in the right spot, right down the left field line. When it left the bat, it looked like it had a chance. But the Gold Glover in left field hauled it in right at the wall.
Boy, Donaldson, when he goes to the plate, he has a distinctive game plan. And he went up there looking for a breaking ball that time.
You know, you could see it in the way he goes about his at-bat. We saw one the other day where he took a fastball right down the middle. And if you're sitting there watching that, you're saying, what is he doing? How do you take a pitch right down the middle? Next pitch was a breaking ball, and he singled to center field. He was sitting on a breaking ball.
Yeah, and you know what? 240 hitters swing at that fastball, like me. Well, I was never a 240 hitter. But when you see a fastball down the middle, you'll change your game plan and just swing at it. But good hitters like Donaldson will have a pitch in their mind, and if they get the other pitch, they won't swing.
Yeah, the bad ones swing at it. Yeah. They look for the breaking ball, get the fastball, and swing.
Thank you.
Good hitters see the breaking ball and wait for it, sit on it, and when they get it, they don't miss it.
Bautista's terrific at that as well. He does a great job of compiling a game plan, knowing a pitcher that he's facing. and then he'll make up his mind. But boy, when the good ones get locked in, like Donaldson and Bautista currently are.
You know, it's a simple plan too with Josh. He homered last time on a fastball, right? So you go up there thinking, well, I bet he's going to give me that curveball. And he got it. He just missed it.
Bautista called out. 2 down. Let's check in with Barry Davis.
Well, guys, Chris Colabello coming to the plate now, and this is draft night. I had a chance to talk to him today about what that was like for him the year that he was draft eligible, and he saw name after name get called both days, and then as it continued following the draft and never having his name called. He said at the time it was pretty devastating. It was something he'd looked so forward to, getting a chance to play, but he now calls it a blessing in disguise. He went, of course, and played independent baseball for 7 years. He says that was such a good time in his life, and it really taught him to be the baseball player he is now. And his message to anybody out there right now that's draft eligible and not getting picks, it's not the end of your baseball career. Just stick with it.
Yeah, it's a great lesson, and it was devastating for Colabello as he anticipated getting drafted, and the rounds kept going, and he never heard his name called. You know, a lot of these young kids now, they'll have friends over and they'll watch the computers and look at the draft on television, and it can be really rough if you get your hopes up too high.
Yeah, if you're expecting to get drafted and you're not. Kudos to him, though, to stick it out year after year, and now he's getting his chance, and he's making the most of it.
Well, you know what? He got ridiculed a little bit last year for the fast start, and then the season deteriorated after the month of April, but he hurt himself. He hurt his thumb, and he just couldn't execute. I think this is a little bit more of what you can expect from Colabello. I mean, it's not a fluke that he's hitting like he is.
He hurt his thumb. There was some nerve damage in his thumb. And he wears this little pad on that right thumb now, just to protect if he gets jammed on a pitch. There's a little padding for that thumb. And all the tens, you can see it on the right hand right there. Very painful when you get jammed like that, or if you hit the ball off the end of the bat and it jams back into your thumb, between your thumb and your index finger. So you wear that little pad like that just to absorb some of that shock.
Yeah, there are a lot of players around the game that will put that pad there because that bat handle will get jammed back into that crease between your thumb and your index finger. And that's where you could really suffer some damage. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Now it's a full count. One of my teammates in Kansas City, Hal McRae, used to wear it all the time, but he wore it under his batting gloves. He didn't want pitchers to see it. He didn't want pitchers to have an advantage of thinking, well, that guy's having trouble with the inside pitch.
Yeah, his thumb's hurting, so I'm going to jam him with a fastball.
Colabello strikes out. Frienzo retires the side in order. We've played 4. The Blue Jays have a 7-2 lead. Now it's time for Blue Jays Central Update. Here's Jamie Campbell and Greg Zahn with a new look.
Expos broadcaster and a member of the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame. And this weekend, we'll see more members inducted in St. Mary's, Ontario. Saturday, June 13th, you'll see Carlos Delgado, Felipe Alou, Matt Stairs, Corey Koski, and Bob Elliott. Get there early and attend Baseball Family Street Festival happening in downtown St. Mary's from 9 a.m. to noon. For more information, go to baseballhalloffame.ca. Buck?
Dave Van Horn, I had the pleasure of working with Dave. Way back in 1984, we covered the World Series between the Padres and the Tigers, and Dave and I were reminiscing about our series with the late Tom Cheek and how we walked back from the ballpark in a hurry before things got a little rowdy in Detroit after that win by the Tigers.
Yes. What a distinctive voice, huh?
Dave's in his 50th year of broadcasting professional baseball, his 47th at the Major League level, and his 15th season as the lead play-by-play broadcaster for the Marlins. That ball's going to go back to fair territory. How about that? That hit off the end of the bat and had a lot of spin on it. And the catcher, JT Realmuto, recognized it and hustled up the line, and Martin was going to let it roll as long as he could.
Yeah, if he stays at home plate, the batter, I think Russell Martin's got enough baseball IQ to let that ball come back. Look at it starting to come back right now. He would have let that come back fair and then recorded the out over first base. I've seen that happen a number of times where it's got that type of English on it and it spins back into fair territory. But then once he saw him running down the line, pitched the ball up.
Yeah, that was really interesting how it had so much spin because it hit right off the end of the bat that it was spinning back toward fair territory, and the catcher Realmuto recognized that.
I saw it in the minor leagues. A left-handed batter hit a ground ball. It ended up being a ground ball. There's the ball right there, where the third base coach went to go field it, and it had so much English on it, it rolled out to the third baseman for a fair ball, in and out.
Change up, lifted to left. Carrera's got plenty of room. He's back on the warning track in front of the scoreboard and makes the pitch. One down. Boy, the Blue Jays starters, what a job they have done. And Marco Estrada won his last start. He beat the Nationals in Game 2 of that doubleheader. He beat Max Scherzer in what looked like a setup for a doubleheader loss after they lost to Jordan Zimmerman in Game 1. But the starters have really strung things together and have allowed the Blue Jays to put this win streak together. That ball is driven to right. Bautista on the run makes a nice catch and takes extra bases away from Hechavarria. Well, the Blue Jays starters got off to a rough start. And you look at their ERA by the month, April 5.20. They dropped down under 5 during May, and look at them early in June.
Look at the ranks. 13th in the month of April, last in the month of May, first in the month of June. And if you talk to every one of the starters, they say, you know, we don't have to be perfect. We just have to record outs. With this offense that the Blue Jays have, they're going to be in the game. They're going to keep you in the game. All you have to do is record outs, and I don't care how you do it. Mark Burley's been outstanding. Drew Hutchison has been doing his thing. Aaron Sanchez has taken his game to the next level.
Boy, when you really look at it, and the Blue Jays starters, with Burley leading the way, he's 7-4. And no matter how you slice it, that's where it all starts and ends. Wins and losses. Ichiro lines a base hit into center with 2 outs. He just moved past Omar Vizquel for 40th on the all-time hits list.
Recognizes that changeup, that familiar swing as he is going towards first base. He keeps his hands back and just flicks his wrist at the ball.
There goes Ichiro. Russell Martin's throw is into the base runner. Ichiro got hit with that ball as he was sliding into second. Suzuki has his 4th stolen base of the season.
4 for 8 now. Ichiro, you can see an aggressive lead, and he goes on first movement, stays low, and then slides right into that bag. That ball clipped him. Martin came out firing.
That ball hit on the artificial grass and skipped all the way to hit Ichiro as he was sliding into second. Suzuki with that single has a firm grip on second among active players for hits. Alex Rodriguez has 2,991. Then Ichiro's second with 2,878. And there's a big gap to number 3, Adrian Beltre, 2,657. One and one, 2 outs.
Said it the last time he was up. I think he's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, he's 41 now, and 3,000 seems to be beyond his reach.
I'm not going to put it past him. I mean, he's close. What is that, 128? Something like that? That would be incredible.
This is Dee Gordon, who has flied out twice to center field. Dee Gordon is the son of Tom Gordon, who is a great pitcher, started with Kansas City, ended up pitching in Boston. Dee Gordon was a 4th-round pick in the 2008 draft by the Dodgers. Bouncing ball to second. The inning is over. Suzuki is stranded aboard. We'll go to the bottom of the 5th. Estrada trying to win his second straight.
Story. Sign up at nextissue.ca/baseball and get an extended 60-day free trial. Well, guys, the Blue Jays were having a lot of fun out there before batting practice, playing some soccer, and a lot of fans of the Champions League final, including that man right there, Diano Navarro, who actually told me prior to the game that Barcelona was going to win 3-1. He sees me today, points at me, says, I told you they were going to win 3-1. He was a very, very happy camper, and to find out his team won.
Yeah, it was quite a match, and of course the Champions League is a terrific worldwide event. And Diano Navarro is a big fan of Barcelona. Russell Martin, he and Bautista and Navarro, they've been out here kicking this soccer ball around all homestand. Just a little opportunity to get their legs working and get a little exercise and have some fun at the same time.
Yep. Yeah, they started that in spring training. Russell brought that over here and work up a little bit of a sweat before the ball game, get off their feet, get out of the clubhouse.
3-0 now. We are in the 5th inning. Blue Jays scored 6 runs on 6 hits in the first and didn't hit a home run. Brad Hand, the starter, through just 28 pitches, recorded 2 outs and was charged with 6 earned runs on 6 hits. Andre Rienzo has been in the game since. Martin will take ball 4. He walks for a second time.
Experience the WeStyle 2016 Acura RDX. Go beyond utility.
Fans with two different generations of idols. Donaldson with the current team. The Hall of Famer Robbie Alomar, of course. Where are the Blue Jays in their pick? How close are they?
They are 13 picks away from their first pick this season. You know, they lost. They would be picking, like right now, if they did not sign Russell Martin. They lost that pick when they signed him, and I would do that every day of the week. To get somebody like Russell Martin for 5 years, and all you have to do is move down 13 spots in the draft, I'd do it every time.
Yeah, it's a gamble when you can make a commitment and pick up a player like Russell Martin. You certainly don't know what you're going to get, and the draft day, even first round, is not an exact science.
No. There have been more first round busts, I think, than first round guys who have made it to the major leagues. So it's not an exact science, but I'll tell you, if you get it, you understand it, you could keep restocking your organization year after year after year.
Danny Valencia shoots this one down the right side. It's slicing away from Ichiro, and it's going to bounce into the seats. You know, we just saw the Houston Astros, and they called up their first overall pick today, Carlos Correa, shortstop, who is scheduled to make his major league debut tonight in Chicago. And the good news, bad news situation for Correa is, hey, you're going to the big leagues, and hey, you're in the starting lineup, but oh, by the way, Chris Sale's pitching.
He'll know he's in the big leagues after he faces Chris Sale.
Correa is in the lineup, and he is playing shortstop and batting 6th. Valencia strikes out. One down, bottom of the 5th, and go back and look at some recent first overall picks. This is the first player picked in the draft in 2009, Steven Strasburg out of college at San Diego State, and Bryce Harper was a high school player in Las Vegas. And then Garrett Cole, he's a terrific #1 pick.
Oh, Garrett Cole is off to a great start this year. You know, he was drafted by the Yankees out of high school, didn't sign, went to UCLA, and then became the #1 pick of the Pirates a couple of years ago.
Garrett Cole pitched 7 innings yesterday as the Pirates beat Atlanta, his 4th victory in his last 4 starts. But with that win, he now has 30 wins in 53 games in the majors. The only active pitcher who needed fewer games to record the first 30 wins was Tim Hudson. Hudson was 30-8 in his first 52 games. So Garrett Cole was a very worthy #1 pick overall.
There are some pitchers this year having great years, aren't there? Garrett Cole, Chris Archer for Tampa Bay.
But Chris Archer recently. Archer struck out 11 batters and didn't walk a batter as they beat the Mariners on Sunday. He's the first pitcher in the modern era since 1900 to strike out at least 10 batters without issuing a walk in 3 straight games.
That's incredible when you talk about all the pitchers that we have seen over the years. I mean, he is just carrying that staff right now.
Yeah, he sure is. Tampa Bay hanging in there. They're 4 games over 500, a game and a half back of the Yankees.
King Felix has 9 wins this year for Seattle. There's just a lot of pitchers who are really having a good year.
Well, how about the division yesterday? Everybody in the division won. Boston swept Oakland. The Yankees swept the Angels, and the Blue Jays swept the Astros. So it's still jammed up. 5.5 games separate top to bottom in the East. Yankees They've won 6 in a row. Blue Jays 4.5 back of New York, behind Tampa Bay in third. Yankees trying to run away and hide and put some space between themselves and the rest of the division, but I don't think that's going to happen.
They would have if they didn't have that one bad streak where they lost 7 or 8 in a row to come back down to earth, and now they're back at it again.
Ezequiel Carrera, the left fielder, has gone 0 for 2, a strikeout and an alignment. One out. Martin at second, Pilar at first, and that's a ball, 1-1.
I'll tell you, if they're going to give you base runners like they have this inning, it looks like Rienzo is starting to wear down just a little. He's up to 71 pitches, a couple of walks. Wouldn't hurt to get some more add-on runs here.
Bouncing ball towards second. Gordon flips to Echeverria, back to first, not in time. Difficult double play ball, as that ball wasn't hit that sharply. It bounced over the mound, and Echeverria has a strong arm, but his throw was not in time at first.
Yeah, you can't take anything for granted. They are really good in the middle of that diamond. They're quick hands. They get rid of the ball quickly, and Echeverria, he's got a very good arm. You can see trying to deal with the base runner. That was Kevin Pillar. He's got a jump, and he can't finish his throw. That is all arm, and it was close.
2 down. Martin at third now, as Carrera is at first on the fielder's choice. This is Munenori Kawasaki. Kawasaki had a ground rule double his first time up, picked up an RBI. His second RBI of the season. Rienzo just about to the end of his night. As Pat mentioned, he's up over 70 pitches now. Came into the ball game with 2 outs in the first. There goes the base runner Carrera. The throw to second is into center. Martin's going to come in to score, as the catcher will be charged with his first error of the season. JT Realmuto had that ball sail on him, and it sailed all the way into center. Carrera picks up his second stolen base. Martin scores on the air by the catcher.
I don't think you ever lay off the gas pedal. It's only the 5th inning, so why not send the runner? Maybe something good will happen, and it does for the Blue Jays as he throws that ball into center field, and Russell can trot home. That ball never had a chance to get to the bag. It was just tailing right when it left his hand.
8-2 Blue Jays. Kawasaki strikes out. The Blue Jays get a run. 2 walks and an error help the Blue Jays' effort. We move to the 6th. It's 8-2 Jays. Now it's time for the Home Hardware Cleanup Crew, brought to you by Natura. Home Hardware's exclusive line of safe, environmentally friendly cleaning products.
Tuesday, July 14th in Cincinnati, Ohio, helped to make Josh Donaldson, Jose Bautista, Russell Martin, and Edwin Encarnacion starters for the American League. Fans were allowed to vote a maximum of 35 times per email address. Vote early, vote often, vote at BlueJays.com. Josh Donaldson making some great progress at third base, still trailing Moustakas in the race, and Jose Bautista, with the weeks he's been having, is also gaining ground in the outfield race. Buck?
Donaldson was an all-star last year, and Blue Jay fans can help the cause by logging on and voting for all Blue Jay players worthy of all-star bids. Martin Prado looks back from that breaking ball. Prado singled ahead of the Stanton home run back in the fourth.
Here's the curveball right there that Pete Walker thinks can be a finishing pitch for Marco Estrada. Not just a, hey, get it over early in the count type of pitch. He thinks he has enough break on that curveball that he can finish off hitters with it. We saw him strike out Giancarlo Stanton in the first inning with it. You combine that with the changeup and his fastball, there's three pretty good pitches for Estrada.
We have seen him improve with each start, and I think that's exactly what you want. And you might not remember that Marco Estrada had a sprained ankle in spring training. It knocked him out for about 2 full weeks of any activity, and because of that he was behind the regular schedule.
And then started pitching out of the bullpen, and they just couldn't get him stretched out of the bullpen. But you add those 3 pitches, and he's been working on a cutter also, something that he can use to left-handers. Not afraid to use it to right-handers. He had a few of them in his last start at Washington.
To Hopper de Reyes at shortstop. Prado's retired. 1 down. We're in the 6th. Giancarlo Stanton homered to right center his last time up.
Whew. I'll tell you, this is where you want to face him right here. Nobody on base. The only thing better than this is you've got a screen in front of you if you're the pitcher.
Well, it looked like a pretty good pitch. Martin thought so. Sends that message out to his pitcher.
I would not want to throw batting practice to this guy, even with a screen. Be too scared.
He has really kind of an interesting swing. It's a very level cut, and you know, he played a lot of football as a kid, but he played at a very good baseball high school and was drafted out of high school. That's a fair ball past Valencia down the left field line. Carrera will play it off the wall, and Stanton will go into second standing up. That's his 9th double of the season.
He hits the ball just so hard. Looked like a cutter. And it stayed on the inner half of the strike zone. But he hits it so hard, you just don't have a lot of time to react if you're one of the fielders. Valencia does everything he can to knock that ball down, catch it, put it by him for extra bases.
So Stanton is 2 for 3. Justin Gore, the first baseman, is 0 for 2. That one right off the end of the bat. That's a good changeup. Then Estrada can throw that changeup anytime. He's got tremendous confidence in that.
Justin Boyer looks like he's got a lot of movement to his swing, and it's ripe for a changeup.
Pretty good spot, and you can see Martin very animated behind the plate, trying to encourage Estrada to continue to throw those quality pitches. think the Blue Jays, playing in their 59th game, really starting to feel like a team now. Got a lot of new players on the ball club. First-time Blue Jays. Martin, Estrada, Colabello, guys that are here for the first time, and I think everybody's starting to feel like a team, and this win streak has a lot to do with that.
And how they're winning. Right? They're swinging the bats. They're getting good pitching. Big come from behind win yesterday can really galvanize a team.
Well, too, and you know, it's easy to settle for 2 out of 3 and say, oh well, we won the series. But when you're under 500, you can't take your foot off the pedal. You got to keep pushing.
Keep pushing. When you have teams down, stay after them.
3-1 now. Coaches sense that this is exactly what they'd hoped they would get as the team starting to come together in every aspect of their play. Boy, that changeup gets Estrada out of a lot of tough situations.
Yep, fastball count. You throw the changeup, throw him another one. Right here, he's got great arm action with that changeup. And as a hitter, you see him come right over the top to get some fastball, and it just stops halfway to home. And he did. Threw him another one.
2 down. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. Marco Estrada pitching with an 8-2 lead has held the Marlins to 2 runs on 5 hits.
His splits this year versus righties and lefties is actually better against right-handers. They are hitting under 200 against Marco this year, and I think a big reason why, he's not afraid to throw that changeup to right-handed batters.
Marcell Ozuna, the center fielder. Ozuna was credited with an infield hit in the second. It was a bouncing ball to Valencia. He just threw wide of first, and Ozuna was given credit for an infield hit. I still believe it should have been an error. There's a base hit over Kawasaki's head. Bautista will come up and throw it back to second as Stanton comes in to score the 3rd Marlins run. Ozuna picks up RBI number 22, and it's an 8-3 ball game.
Well, you want to leave those runners out there with 2 outs. Leave them stranded out there. It's a fastball in the inner half, and he just punches the ball into right field. No chance for Bautista to get the runner. He was moving on contact. Blue Jays scored a run in the bottom of the 5th, and the Marlins come right back and get it back.
Steve Delabar starts to loosen up for the Blue Jays. 2 outs, top of the 6th. Christian Yelich. Yelich a year ago hit .284, had 9 homers and 54 RBIs. It's this ball to the shortstop. Reyes flips to Kawasaki. The inning is over. The Marlins get their 3rd run of the night, a run on 2 hits, and they leave 1.
the Comfort Zone tonight, they have guests of TD. Meanwhile, over in the Jays Care Community Clubhouse are folks from Eva's Initiatives. Buck?
Thank you very much. It's always great to have guests into the Jays Care Community Clubhouse. Vin Mazzaro, the new pitcher for the Marlins, he's bounced around a bit. Originally signed with the Oakland Athletics, and he went to Kansas City in a trade for David DeJesus. He has spent time with Oakland, Kansas City, and Pittsburgh in the major leagues. He signed a minor league contract with the Marlins
just this past January, and there are his numbers in 5 games for Mazzaro. Lively two-seamer. Gets lots of ground balls when he is on. He's only thrown a few innings, just 6 2/3 for this team.
Andre Rienzo went 4 1/3. He was charged with 2 runs, only 1 earned run on 2 hits, walked 3 and struck out 5. Good stint of long relief for Miami as the starter got bumped in the first inning.
That's why you have those long relievers down in that bullpen. For that reason right there, your starter gets knocked out in the first inning, you need multiple innings.
So fly ball to center. Ozuna. 1 down. Now it's time for the drive of the game. It's brought to you by the Restyle 2016 Acura RDX. Go beyond utility.
Tonight's drive of the game belongs to Josh Donaldson. Look at him wind up and turn on this fastball from Rienzo. Dead center field. It's home run number 16 for Donaldson off the facing of the flight deck. The WestJet flight deck in dead center field. The drive of the game tonight brought to you by Josh Donaldson.
That home run was the 11th home run Donaldson has hit here at Rogers Center this season. 11 of 16 coming right here at home. Tell you what, he has really done a great job of focusing on staying in a big part of the field. I think he recognized early in his tenure here with the Blue Jays that you don't have to pull it to hit it out here.
No, you can hit it out of center field like we have seen him. That's where he went for his home run in the second inning. We have seen him go deep to right.
This is a mile high out in front of home plate. The catcher, Realmuto, stays with it, makes the catch. Donaldson's retired. Boy, that thing was way up there. Donaldson now 1 for 4 on the night as the DH.
Yeah, get your chance to DH. Get him off his feet for the game. Get Danny Valencia in at third base with the left-hander on the mound who started.
We saw Edwin Encarnacion. Hopefully he'll be back in the lineup tomorrow. He's trying to overcome the effects of a cortisone shot in his left shoulder. Took that on Saturday after the game. Jose Bautista 1 for 3. Isn't it interesting? And this has basically been the Blue Jays situation all season long. They haven't had their lineup together.
Nope.
And they're still leading the world in run score.
In run score. You don't have Michael Saunders. He really hasn't been at 100% this whole year. Devin Travis still on the disabled list with the shoulder problems, and now Edwin Encarnacion is down. We missed Leonardo Navarro for an extended period of time with the problems that he's had.
Over a month with a hamstring issue. And Bautista. Didn't want anything to do with Bautista. He walks on 4 pitches. But the Blue Jays are still very potent offensively. And when Reyes is top of the order, getting on base, stealing bases, Donaldson and Encarnacion, Bautista, Colabello, they can all drive in a ton of runs. Donaldson now has 41 ribbies. Bautista has 36.
You know, we've said this over the last couple of days also. We haven't seen a real hot streak from Edwin Encarnacion or Jose Bautista.
No. Where they string together 6-8 games where they drive in 10-12 runs.
Hit home runs, come up with big base hits.
If you're just joining us, John Gibbons was ejected from the ball game in the second inning. Jose Bautista was called out for a check swing, strike 3. And initially we thought Bautista had been ejected, but Angel Hernandez, the first base umpire, looked beyond Bautista into the Blue Jays dugout and threw out the manager.
Quickly. Didn't take long. We didn't get a chance to see what Gibby did. But Angel saw something, didn't like it, and gave him the old heave-ho.
Maybe Angel didn't know it was Gibby's birthday.
That's
the problem.
That's it.
Yeah. 2-1, 2 outs. Colabello takes ball 3 inside. Chris Colabello extended his hit streak to 18 straight in the first inning. That's the longest hitting streak this season in the American League.
That's amazing. You know, when you talk about the great hitters that are in the American League, Jose Abreu had the record. It's Chris Colabello just doing his thing day after day after day.
Ground ball up the middle. Echeverria shovels quickly to D. Gordon to end the inning. Blue Jays leave a base runner. We'll head to the 7th. 8-3 Jays.
With Rogers First Rewards MasterCard. You'll earn 5,000 first-use bonus points redeemable for $50 off your next smartphone upgrade on a 2-year term with no annual fee. Apply today. Buck?
Sounds like a good deal to me, Barry. Thanks for checking out at Rogers.com. Blue Jays trying to make it 6 in a row. They'll get within a game of 500 if they can win this opening game against the Marlins. Marcus Estrada. He won his last start against the Nationals. Estrada in that ball game went 6 innings, allowed 3 runs on 6 hits, and beat Max Scherzer.
Yeah, he was matched up with none other than Max Scherzer, the $210 million man, and he beat him.
Kevin Pillar had a big game, 2 home runs, 4 RBIs in support of Estrada. The catcher, JT Realmuto, gets the leadoff single. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. Yeah, Eric Owens, the Blue Jays assistant hitting coach, saw Correa last year, and Owens was with the Dodgers at the time as their roving hitting instructor, and of course they had Kyle Seager, the young left-handed hitter from Corey Seager, Kyle's brother, from the Dodgers, and he said that Seager started over Correa in the All-Star game in Double-A.
Wow.
Yeah, that's how good Seager is.
Yeah.
Ground ball. Reyes on the 2-hopper. Kawasaki quickly turns it, and Echeverria is retired on a beautiful double play.
You know, if you're going to win, you got to turn big double plays, and the Blue Jays, for the most part, have been doing that this year. Reyes with a nice feed, and watch Kawasaki stay in there against Real Muto. Left foot on the bag, step, throw, and then get up in the air so you can absorb that hit. Kawasaki turns it over.
Here is Ichiro Suzuki. He takes the first pitch changeup for a strike. Kawasaki was a shortstop in his professional career in Japan. He made a transition now at second base. We mentioned Ichiro Suzuki. He played 9 seasons in Japan with the Oryx Blue Wave. That was his team in Japan. And he's still very popular. He has a lot of big commercials in Japan during the ballparks. They're different products. Of course, he's an iconic player both here and in Japan.
He's had a few hits in his career, hasn't he? Oof.
Oh, that one hit him. He swipes at that curveball and might have bounced up and hit him in the face.
Got that own distinctive swing. You see him start to pull off on this ball, but he hits it right off the plate and right in the chin.
1-2, 2 outs. Wouldn't chase that changeup. We mentioned the 9 season in Japan. Suzuki had 1,278 hits in Japan. There he strikes out. Another good changeup. Another strikeout for Estrada. 7 strong innings for Marco Estrada. He's got the lead.
Davidi is your man to read and to talk to right now. And Shai, the Blue Jays have yet to select, but let's talk about a really big night for our country. Josh Naylor from Mississauga, Ontario. We saw him last year at the Junior Home Run Derby. This kid can mash, and now he's been drafted by a major league team.
By the Miami Marlins at number 12, and actually it's a little bit historic. The highest a Canadian player has ever been chosen. Brett Laurie at 16 by the Milwaukee Brewers was the previous high. So a big day for him, and he really went up in the draft a little bit higher than people expected. He had a big day at the Dominican Summer League Tour, a big tour for baseball junior national team, and up he went in the draft.
The Toronto Blue Jays select number 29 overall. Shai, anybody that was on their radar that is no longer available?
Well, they're still about 9 picks away, but one player who they had been linked to, shortstop Richie Martin, was just taken by the Oakland Athletics at 20. So a lot of the high school arms that they've been talked about seem to still be in play for them.
Shai, thanks so much for your time and all the great updates.
You got it.
All right, there's Shai Davidi. Send it back to you, Buck.
Thanks, fellas. Good job of updating us. And congratulations to Josh Naylor, a historic pick as he was taken by the Marlins. Greg Hamilton has done a great job with the junior national team and all his fine efforts to help these youngsters get exposed to major league teams. They travel around and make a lot of stops. We saw them in the spring, and that's quite a program they have developed over the years.
How about the Tournament 12 held right here? Robbie Alomar's tournament that gets a lot of exposure for a lot of young players. Done that for a couple of seasons.
Danny Valencia scorches one to left field. That's going to skip off the base of the wall. He's headed for second. Yelich's throw is not in time. Second double of the night for Danny Valencia. This was a laser to the base of the wall in left.
You know, he's having a fine year offensively for the Blue Jays. Left-hander, right-hander, it doesn't matter. When they make mistakes, flattens that bat and drills that ball off the wall. Again, Yelich won the Gold Glove last year, but he can't come up with the play here as he concedes the base hit and now tries to get the runner out at second base, but the throw is offline. Nice little hook slide right there by Danny Valencia.
Avoiding the tag of D. Gordon. Kevin Pillar has had a perfect night at the plate. Had a 2-run single in the first and has walked twice. He scored the 6th run in the Blue Jays' first inning. That coming on a ground rule double off the bat of Munenori Kawasaki. Look out, Louis Rivera. Ball was pulled right over the head of Louis Rivera on a hop.
Louis is setting himself up to help Valencia score on a base hit, so he's only about 50 feet. He doesn't even flinch, does he?
Had it all the way. At shortstop in his playing days. Ball and a strike. Vin Mazzaro, the third pitcher to work here tonight. And the starter, Brad Hand, was knocked out in the first inning. Andre Rienzo, now Vin Mazzaro. Pitching matchup tomorrow, Dan Herron and Mark Burley. That might set a record for fastest game of the season. There's a ground ball up the middle. Echeverria, look at that play. Oh my. Echeverria showing great range, but also unloaded in a hurry.
How about
take time to right his feet?
The athleticism by catching the ball. And you can see he is playing Pillar to pull. He's got a long way to go. He catches it on the one motion. Catch, throw, and accurately over at first base. We saw this in the short time that he was with the Blue Jays, and everybody knew that he was going to be a very fine fielder. Talking to some of the coaches for the Miami Marlins, they talk about Andrelton Simmons in Atlanta being the best shortstop in the National League. They're saying, this guy is right there with him.
Yeah, he has certainly developed as an overall player, and that play, he knows Kevin Pillar. They play together in minor leagues, and they know each other, so he knew that Pillar always hustles and runs well out of the box, so he had to unload before he had time to right himself. Ball and a strike to the Blue Jays left field. There's a Kier Carrera. There's a drive to center. Ozuna back. This ball's over his head. Up against the wall. Valencia comes in to score. Carrera with a RBI double. A stand-up double. His 5th double and 11th RBI of the season.
Make those hits count. That's what Carrera has done. He has made them count. You mentioned 11 RBIs. He came into the game hitting over 300. Mazzaro, a sinker ball pitcher, gets another pitch up. And Carrera doesn't miss this one. He sends this one on a line to center field. Ozuna has no chance to catch this one. Trades places with Valencia at second base.
Everybody in the Blue Jays lineup now has a hit. That's what we talked about in the open, about contributions from everybody on this roster, and they have all had an impact.
Yeah, up and down the lineup, they've had their chances tonight, and they have come through.
Blue Jays have hit 4 doubles and a home run tonight, and they've scored 9 runs. (3-0) to Kawasaki.
Turn him loose?
Not at all. He'd
No.
get one in the ribs on the next one.
Yeah, 9-3. That's baseball etiquette right there. You take a strike. Number 9 hitter. I think even if they gave him the green light, he wouldn't take it. He is all about working that count and having good at bats.
Ball 4. That'll turn the lineup over as Kawasaki will go to first. Second walk by Mazzaro. Chuck Hernandez, the pitching coach. And he has had to deal without some of his regular pitchers. And he's trying to encourage Mazzaro to get through this inning. You look at the extended slump of the Marlins, and this began before Dan Jennings took over, and it led to the ultimate release of Mike Redmond as the manager. They're 9-17 over the last 26 games, ERA over 4. And you look at that ERA and say, well, what's the problem with that? That's National League with no DH, and you can't compare it to what the Blue Jays have done.
Well,
with the run differential, they haven't had much offense.
Yeah, that has struggled. Teams are pitching around Giancarlo Stanton, and this is a team that had high hopes of contending, and they still might be able to get back into it.
Jose Reyes 1 for 4. He had a leadoff single and got everything started once again for the Blue Jays in the first. Blue Jays scored 6 in the first on 6 hits and knocked out the starter. Two and 0.
Fifth time that Jose has hit tonight. 7th inning. Blue Jays have been turning that lineup over.
Three and 0. Mazzaro can't find the strike zone.
You got 2 outs and a man at second base, and then the doubles by Carrera seems to have shaken him up just a little bit. Couldn't find the strike zone to Kawasaki. 4 pitches. Now 3 to Jose Reyes.
There's a strike. 3 and 1. We're in the bottom of the 7th. Blue Jays have scored 9 runs on 10 hits. They are 5 for 10 tonight with runners in scoring position. Ball 4. That'll load the bases. So Josh Donaldson, he might be the last opportunity for Mazzaro to stay in this game. You saw Dan Jennings, the manager, moving around down in that Marlins dugout.
Well, if the score stays like this, they only have 1 more inning to cover. We've talked about it before. You get into that bullpen early in a 3-game series, you know he wants Mazzaro to try and finish off this inning. He just needs to throw strikes and challenge guys.
Josh Donaldson, there's his numbers with the bases loaded, and they're impressive. A .415 average. Herrera at third, Kawasaki at second. Reyes at first. The bases are loaded with 2 outs. Pops this one straight back over the screen, out of play.
Oh, slider, another slider to Donaldson. He wasn't fooled at all. He was all over that.
The Marlins are 8-11 under their new manager, Dan Jennings. We talked about their 9-17 record in the last 26. There's a base hit. That's going to score 2 more runs. Carrera's in. Right behind him is Kawasaki, and Donaldson with a 3 RBI night. It's 11-3 Blue Jays.
The walks will cost you. He walked a couple of runners on base, and now you got to face the middle lineup and hot hitters. Here's another one, Josh Donaldson with his second hit. And his second and third RBIs of the night. This single into center field is going to knock out Mazzaro. 2 more runs across, and the route is on.
Well, the Blue Jays, 11 runs on 11 hits, and Donaldson's been right in the middle of it. Vin Mazzaro is out of the ball game. Henry Flores will come in. The right-hander will face Bautista with 2 aboard and 2 outs. This is the 4th Marlins pitcher to work tonight, something that the Blue Jays always tried to accomplish in Game 1 of a series, and it's been a tough start to this 3-game series for the Marlins.
It's been a tough start for Kendry Flores. They thought he was in the game, went back into the bullpen to see the veteran say, no, you're in the game, go, you're in. They open the gate one more time, and for the second time, he comes out onto the playing field to pitch his second major league game in his career.
It is 11-3 now as Bautista bats, and he hits Bautista, and that was very curious. And it's just the second game of Flores' career. But in a situation like this with Bautista hitting and the Blue Jays already scoring 11 runs, it's kind of suspicious.
He's a young guy, and I'm sure he's nervous. He came over for Casey McGahee was from San Francisco. It's the second big league game. He's facing Jose Bautista and drills him right in the elbow. First pitch. He's got a good arm. And I hope that hit Bautista in that padding on that elbow.
Yeah, it sure looked like it did. So the bases are loaded for a second time this inning. Chris Colabello, the 9th man to bat in the 7th. The Blue Jays had 10 batters in the first and scored 6 runs. Vin Mazzaro, he walked 2 in the inning and then gave up the 2-run single to Josh Donaldson. course, is just 23 years old. As Pat mentioned, this is his second big league game. He pitched last year in A-ball for the Giants in San Jose. Made 20 starts. He's been a starter throughout his minor league career.
So you come in, you go back out.
Yeah, he couldn't get out of the bullpen. They waved him in and then sent him back. So he was a little nervous. The first pitch he threw, he hit Bautista. Oh, 0-2 to Colabello. Mentioned tomorrow's pitching matchup. Right-hander Dan Herron against the lefty Mark Burley. Herron 6-2, Burley 7-4. A couple of veterans that like to work quickly.
Two pitchers that have been doing it a long time. Not like what we have seen tonight. A lot of young pitchers for the Marlins. Just not sure of their mechanics, and the Blue Jays have taken advantage of that offensively. Blue Jays walked 7 times tonight.
It's a wicked combination of walks and extra base hits. We mentioned they have hit 5 doubles, a home run, and those 7 walks. Ball into there, blocked by Real Muto. Two and two, 2 outs. Now they're set. Breaking ball, and Colabello strikes out. That ends the inning and leaves the bases loaded. 9 men go to the plate in the 7th. The Blue Jays add 3 more. They've taken a commanding 11-3 lead.
The Texas Rangers at 1:07 p.m. The first 20,000 fans will receive one of these, a Blue Jays white panel hat presented by Jack Links. To get tickets, go to BlueJays.com. Love those awesome retro hats, Buck.
You know, Barry, those hats are great for autographs because you can really see the signature on that white panel. So make sure you fans come on out and get you one of those hats. Steve Delabar on to pitch the 8th inning. Another good start for Marco Estrada.
Oh,
7 innings.
Excellent start for Marco Estrada. 7 strong innings. He'll turn it over to Delabar now. 1-0, 193 earned run average for Steve. He last pitched against Houston on the 6th, 2/3 of an inning. He gave up an earned run and a strikeout versus the Astros. In this situation here, you got an 8-run lead. You got a good fastball like Delabar does. Here it is. Let's see what you can do with it.
Strike 2 to D. Gordon. Gordon came into this game leading the National League in at-bats, hits, and batting average. Delabar strikes him out with a good fastball. Marco Estrada trying to make it 2 straight wins as he picked up his last win in Washington against the Nationals and Max Scherzer. Very good outing for Estrada once again. 7 strong innings, 7 hits. He gave up 3 earned runs. Didn't walk a batter. Struck out 6.
That's the key for me right there. Didn't walk anybody. He was staked to that 7-0 lead after 2 innings, and he just pounded that strike zone. We were talking, I think it was a couple of shows ago, about the Blue Jays starters going deeper into the game and not walking batters. And here's another one tonight.
Over the last 13 games, they've had 6 walks. 6 games without issuing a walk from the starting staff. And that's how you string together win streaks. Pete Walker has to be thrilled with the work. And you talked to Pete extensively about how consistent the starters have been working to improve.
Yeah, and how hard they've been working. Every day you'll see Pete and Dane Johnson down in that bullpen working on mechanics, working on theory, working on how you're going to get guys out. You could change things, arm angles, the grips on certain pitches, but every one of them are down there, and the pitching coaches are working hard. And you're starting to see good things from the pitchers.
How much do you think this good stretch of pitching has been a competitive thing?
I think a lot of it is, Aaron Sanchez goes out there and throws hit at 8 innings, and the guy behind him wants to double that and follow that up, and they start to become very competitive. They're competitive people by nature. Baseball players, especially pitchers, are competitive, and when you only pitch 1 day out of 5, you see the guy what he did the night before. You want to get out there and do the same thing. You don't want to be the weak link in the chain, as described by Pete Walker.
Danny Valencia made a nice play on Martin Prado for the 2nd out. Giancarlo Stanton, a DH tonight. It's only the 5th time in his career that he has been the DH. He homered tonight against Marco Estrada. In his last 25 games, he has now hit 12 home runs.
Wow. He doesn't get cheated, I'll tell you that. When he goes up there, he can hit the ball out of any part of the ballpark. They want to go down and away, and it's just up a little bit. They still made him reach for that ball. Look how far he hit it. He has had the 3 longest home runs in baseball this year.
He scorches this ball. That's going to get down and slam up against the wall in center. And Stanton has had a 3-hit night, a home run and 2 doubles. He's trying to get that batting average up. Coming into this game, he hit just .230. That's his 10th double, 2nd tonight.
That is hard to believe. .230 coming into this game, the way he has hit it. That's a breaking ball right there, and he's got plenty of plate coverage as that ball's down and away, and Stanton is all over it.
Boy, that bat stays in the hitting zone a long time. He doesn't pull off of it, doesn't cut the swing off. He just extends right through. 3 extra base hits for Stanton. This is the first baseman, Justin Boyer. He is 0 for 3 with a couple of strikeouts.
I'm going to guess that there's not a lot of bloop hits off of his bat.
He got a bloop hit in Colorado, and they were kind of surprised by it. He had a little pop of about 200 feet just over the infield, and it drove in a run, and he said that's the kind of hits you need to raise your batting average. A few of those boops.
Well, he's turned them into 3-line drives tonight.
This is 6th year in Miami. He's now hit 173 home runs. He's a 2-time All-Star. That ball is hit hard, high and deep to center. Pilar has room, makes the catch right up against the wall. So Stanton is stranded. We'll go to the bottom of the 8th. It's all Blue Jays tonight. Now time for a Blue Jays Central update. Here's Jamie Campbell and Greg Zahn.
June 21st, and the Blue Jays are home. They take on the Orioles at 1:07 that afternoon, and it is Bring Dad to the Game Day. Go to BlueJays.com for tickets. Now, Buck, I'd ask my son to bring me to the game, but I'm already here, so I think maybe it should be Bring Dad to dinner after the game day. What do you think?
That sounds good. You need any recommendations, let me know.
Will do.
We'll get one that's really expensive there.
He's only 50. I'd still be paying.
That's all right. He saved up his allowance. It's Father's Day. Russell Martin, the catcher. We mentioned the Blue Jays tonight. Every starter has a base hit. Donaldson has 2 with a home run and a 2-run single. Danny Valencia has a pair of doubles. Valencia has driven in 2 and scored 2. Russell Martin has walked twice. He's officially 1 for 2. Chop toward third. Prado on the run. Throws out Martin. 1 down here in the 8th.
Blue Jays playing with a short bench tonight with Edwin Encarnacion out, so this is just what they needed right here.
Nobody else, excuse me, Pat, nobody else in the East is playing tonight, so the Blue Jays are going to gain a half a game on everybody. So Edwin hopefully will be back in there tomorrow. You can see Blue Jays are having a little fun during this win streak. And why not? You should. The game is meant to be fun. Danny Valencia trying to put a capper on a big night. He's had a 2 double night. Just missed a grand slam in the first inning and hit a laser double in the 7th to the base of the wall in left.
Saw a preview of this during batting practice today, and he was launching.
Boy, he put on a show, didn't he?
Yes, he did. Line drives everywhere, with a little something behind it, too.
Deep to center, but Ozuna has room, makes the catch in front of the warning track. 2 down. Well, the Blue Jays, with a win tonight, will move to a game under 500. And you look at the rest of the week. Marlins are here for Tuesday night, Wednesday afternoon, then an off day, and then they'll go into Fenway Park, take on the Red Sox. And then how about this? 2 games in New York against the Mets, and then 2 here at Rogers Center as the Mets travel here, and then the Orioles are up next.
You got the first place New York Mets, and I'm sure we're going to see some of those good young pitchers that we've been hearing about of the New York Mets.
Over the course of the 4 games here,
I think
see some of them.
I think Matt Harvey is scheduled to pitch one of those games.
Kevin Pillar hits one into left. That's going to drop in front of Yelich. So Pillar has a 2-hit night. He's been on base 4 times tonight with a pair of walks and a couple of singles. Well, I believe Matt Harvey pitched last night, and I think that would get him in a position to be in one of those 4 games.
They have a 6-man rotation. They're experimenting with that. I thought I saw Syndergaard was going to pitch one of the games. DeGrom is the guy they miss, Jacob DeGrom. If the schedule holds. I mean, there's no rainouts or anything like that between now and then. So that should be fun.
Yeah, it'll be good to see the Mets, and they've got some good players, as nobody really counted on them to be leading the pack here in the 2nd week of June.
Hey, doing it all without David Wright, too.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like he's going to come back anytime soon. The Baltimore Orioles will follow the Mets into Rogers Center. Flores takes the comebacker. Carrera's retired. Will go to the 9th. First of 3 against Miami. The Blue Jays lead it 11-3.
Game on Sportsnet. It will be Sportsnet Central immediately following tonight's game, and on CBC as we speak, it is Game 3 between the Lightning and Blackhawks, Stanley Cup Final. Series tied at 1, and the game is also tied at 1. Guys, we should let you know the Blue Jays are up next when it comes to the draft, and number 28, another Canadian, the Braves taking Canadian Mike Soroka.
That's great for the Canadian amateur players, and congratulations to Soraka. Blue Jays will be up on the clock shortly. Ryan Tepera comes in to pitch the ninth. Delabar had a clean inning. He allowed a double and nothing more.
There are Ryan's numbers in 6 games. It's been a while since we have seen Ryan Tepera. Last pitched against the White Sox. Did not record an out in that game. Another defensive change for the Blue Jays. Ryan Goins will come in and spill Jose Reyes at shortstop, get him off his feet.
Reyes finishes up 1 for 4 with a run scored and a base on ball. This is Marcel Ozuna, the center fielder. Ozuna is 2 for 3 with an RBI. The pair throws 2 strikes to Ozuna to get ahead. Yeah, the Blue Jays starters have pitched so well and so deep into the ball game. There haven't been an awful lot of relief innings available. But the good thing for John Gibbons and the Blue Jays is the fact that Roberto Osuna has had opportunity to rest the last couple of days.
Big wins like that. Gibby usually likes to use him late in the game when they are leading. And a chance for Tepera to get a strikeout.
Tepera strikes out Ozuna. Now for a preview of what's coming up next on Sportsnet Central. Here's Ken Reed and Ivanka Osmak. Thank you very much, Ken. Make sure you check that all out. And boy, I tell you what, the NBA Finals and the Stanley Cup Finals have been tight contests. Back and forth.
Boy, the game last night, that NBA game. Whew. I was getting fired up.
It was rough.
It was rough.
Should have put helmets on.
Yeah.
Kristen Yelich drives this one to left, and Carrera hauls it in. 2 down for Ryan Tepera. This is the catcher, JT Realmuto. Realmuto has a hit in 3 trips. 98, he's rested. Wow.
Yes, he is. Did not pitch on the last road trip that the Blue Jays went on.
Another good fastball. Tepera trying to send a message, hey, don't forget about me. Blue Jays trying to wrap up game 1 of this 3-game series and extend their win streak to 6 straight. Marco Estrada, 7 innings of 7-hit ball. The Blue Jays staked him to an early lead, 6 in the first, 1 more in the second.
How about that for a foul ball?
Wow, must hit right off the knob of the bat.
No argument from anybody around home plate. That's a backup slider that didn't move. Yep, right off the knob of the bat. $17,582 at Rogers Center.
That's the best fastball we've seen from Tepera all season long.
We've seen some 93s and 94s. 98.
Josh Donaldson went deep tonight. He had a 3 RBI night. Also had a 2-run single. Donaldson getting half the night off, served as DH tonight. Every Blue Jay starter had a base hit. Popped up down the right side. This is a long run for Bautista. He can't get there. He dives, and it's just beyond his reach.
Would have been a circus catch right there for Bautista. Jose came a long way, and he was really the only guy who had a chance at making that catch. Kawasaki was down there, but you can see it's just out of reach for Jose. What an effort in a 11-3 game.
Great effort by Bautista trying to end it. That young lady is up late. 2-2, 2 down. Oh, there's the ball game. Nice play by Colabello. He takes a hit away from Real Muto. The Blue Jays offense, 11 runs on 12 hits. Ryan Zapera, perfect inning in the night. Escobar with the win. Estrada with the win, excuse me.
Alan Powell, Chris Colabello, I can do it with my glove, and don't forget I can do it with the glove too. The bat was hot, and the glove finished off this game.
6 in a row for the Blue Jays. They're within a game of 500, 29-30. They gain a half game on the whole division. Stay tuned. Sportsnet Central coming up. Here's Ken and Ivanka.